There's a hidden truth sitting quietly in the background of our lives. It's a psychological and mathematical reality that completely dictates our financial futures. In this explainer, we're going to dive deep and absolutely shatter your misconceptions about what wealth actually looks like. Because think about it. From childhood, we are constantly bombarded with glittering images of what success is supposed to be, right? The luxury cars, the designer clothes, the massive mansions. But real wealth? Real wealth almost always hides in plain sight.
Picture this for a second. You're walking through a totally ordinary supermarket parking lot. On your left, there's a brand new luxury sports car just shining under the sun, practically demanding everyone's attention. And on your right, an old, reliable Toyota quietly pulls into a space. Just paint that scene in your mind.
So looking at those two drivers, which one do you think is the actual millionaire? The answer usually shocks people. Research overwhelmingly points to the person driving the old Toyota. And this simple observation reveals the entire core of what we're talking about today. You see, knowing how to look rich and actually becoming rich are two completely different things. Most people know exactly how to look successful, but very few know how to build enduring wealth.
To understand why this happens, we really need to talk about something called the invisible treadmill. Society conditions us from a very young age to be consumers, long before anyone ever teaches us how to be owners. Because of this, millions of hardworking people fall into a brutal psychological trap. Every single time they get a raise, it's immediately met with a matching increase in their lifestyle. You get a raise, you get a better apartment, a newer car, more expensive vacations. So you run faster, you put in more hours at work, but your actual financial freedom, it stays exactly at zero. And this psychological trap takes a very real physical toll. The treadmill keeps you moving and sweating, but you never actually step forward. When you spend your raises on luxury items, when you fall into this upgrade trap, you aren't just buying things. You are literally eating the seeds of your future wealth before they've even had a chance to touch the soil. You're consuming the exact capital that is supposed to set you free.
The root cause of all this? It's what we call the dopamine trap. Every single day, you're fighting a biological war between the instant gratification of modern consumption and the quiet, completely unglamorous reality of long-term wealth. Honestly, we don't spend more because we actually need more. We spend more simply because our income allows it. It's a fundamental failure of delayed gratification. We give ourselves the psychological permission to upgrade our lives the absolute second our bank account has a little breathing room, prioritizing a short-term hit of pleasure over long-term, unshakable freedom. Let's look at two neighbors who earn the exact same salary. Their everyday choices reveal the true geometry of wealth. Driven by social comparison and that intense pressure to keep up, one neighbor consumes almost everything they make just to maintain a highly impressive, highly visible lifestyle. They're buying expensive memories. But the other neighbor, they make a deliberate choice to drive a reliable used car, invest consistently, and avoid unnecessary debt. They choose to plant a forest. 10 years later, the difference between them isn't luck, and it definitely isn't intelligence. It is simply financial behavior. One owns fleeting attention, the other owns valuable compounding assets. And this brings us to an even deeper psychological conflict. Human beings are biologically wired to expect linear growth. We expect effort and reward to move perfectly step by step. Like, I work 1 hour, I get 1 hour's pay, right? But financial mathematics dictates an exponential reality. Wealth curves upward. This means the early years of investing, what we call the invisible years, feel agonizingly slow. You put money away and nothing seems to happen. It is right there in the dark where most people just give up, completely blind to the mathematical explosion that's actually waiting for them. To truly grasp the staggering power of that mathematical explosion, I want you to think about one single number: 42. If you were somehow able to take a standard piece of paper and fold it in half exactly 42 times, its thickness wouldn't just be the size of a building. It would literally reach the moon. I know, it sounds completely insane, but that is the jarring, undeniable reality of exponential math. Those first few folds feel painfully, totally insignificant. It's just a tiny block of paper, but those final folds bridge the entire gap to the moon. Wealth multiplication is incredibly backloaded. It requires you to sit quietly in the dark while the math does its work. Understanding this exponential math reveals the true physics of loss. The cost of a lifestyle upgrade isn't just the physical price tag you swipe your card for today. It's the staggering exponential loss of what that exact amount of money would have become 20 or 30 years from now. Every single dollar you spend on an unnecessary luxury today is a dollar that can never, ever work for you tomorrow.
You're trading exponential magic for present-day comfort. Now let's think about the true weight of your assets. Most people are conditioned to believe you need a massive salary to get ahead, but the heaviest weight on the financial scale is actually time. A tiny financial seed, given enough runway, will mathematically defeat a massive block of gold from someone who started late. Starting early entirely defeats waiting around to invest more later.
Ultimately, you're faced with a definitive choice. Are you going to be the consumer, totally focused on immediate lifestyle upgrades and high debt, or the architect, focused on consistent asset building? Think about Warren Buffett for a second. 99% of his entire net worth came after he turned 50. The final years of an exponential curve create such a massive expansion that people standing on the sidelines just assume it's pure luck. But it isn't. It proves that simple patience and quiet consistency will always defeat flashiness and intensity. So it's time to completely redefine what wealth actually means. Real wealth is not a sports car. It's not a designer watch. Wealth is the quiet accumulation of freedom. It's waking up every single morning knowing you don't have to worry about money. It is the ultimate ability to say no to the dopamine trap today, so you have the absolute power to say yes to the life you actually want tomorrow.
I'm going to leave you with this one final, provocative thought. Wealth is silent. Debt is loud. The next time you see someone driving an expensive car or living a flashy lifestyle, just remember that appearances reveal practically nothing about their actual financial reality. Building real wealth requires the discipline to ignore what everyone else is trying to show the world. It demands patience as payment. So, are you willing to wait through the invisible years? Start changing your daily financial habits today. Let time do the heavy lifting and let the math work its magic. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.